Vardhanam Pratipadam Purnamrita Swadanam Sarvatmasnapanam Param Vijayate Shri Krishna Sankirtanam. Glory to the Shri Krishna Sankirtana, which cleanses the heart of all the dust accumulated for years and extinguishes the fire of conditional life, of repeated birth and death. The Sankirtana movement is the prime benediction for humanity at large because it spreads the rays of the benediction moon. It is the life of all transcendental knowledge. It increases the ocean of transcendental bliss, and it enables us to fully taste the nectar for which we are always anxious. Yes. Sudhir Prabhu, you want to read?
Prabhuji, Krishna would like to read it. Is it okay?
Yes, please.
Nam Nama Kali Bahuta Nija Sarva Shaktis Tatrapi Tanyamrita Smaranina Kale Etadrishika Kavakripa Bhagavan Mamapi Durdeva Idrisham Ihjanina Anuragaha. O my Lord, your holy name alone can render all benedictions to the living beings, and thus you have hundreds and millions of names like Krishna and Govinda. In these transcendental names, you have invested all your transcendental energies. They are not even hard and fast rules for chanting these names. Oh my Lord, out of kindness you enable us to easily approach you. But I am so unfortunate that I have no attraction for them. Thank you, Prabhuji. Krishna.
Okay, next. Someone wants to read?
Tanadapi Sunichena Tarorapi Sahishnuna Amanina Manatena Kirtaniya Sada Hari. One should chant the holy name of the Lord in a humble state of mind, thinking oneself lower than the straw in the street. One should be more tolerant than a tree, devoid of all sense of false prestige, and should be ready to offer all respect to others. In such a state of mind, one can chant the holy name of the Lord constantly. Hare Krishna.
Okay. Yes, Prabir.
Na dhanam na janam na sundarim kavitang ba jagadisha kamaye mama janmani janmanishare bhavatad bhakti rahoy tuikitoi. O Almighty Lord, I have no desire to accumulate wealth, nor do I desire beautiful women, nor do I want any number of followers. I only want your causeless devotional service, birth after birth. Hare Krishna Prabhu, thank you.
Okay. Yes. Vipul Prabhu.
Organic devotees, downward pranam, all gracious Srila Prabhupada. Oi nanda tanuja kinkaram patitamam vishame bhavam buddho kripya tava pada pankaja sita duli sodrisha vichintaya. O son of Maharaj Nanda, Krishna, I am your eternal servitor. Yet somehow or other I have fallen into the ocean of birth and death. Please pick me up from this ocean of death and place me as one of the atoms at your lotus feet. Hare Krishna.
Sudhir Prabhu, to read.
Sure, Prabhuji, thank you. Nayanam galadhashrudharaya vadanam gadgadarudaya gira pulake nichitam vapukada tavanama gruhame bhavishyati. O my Lord, when will my eyes be decorated with tears of love flowing constantly when I chant your holy name? When will my voice choke up, and when will the hairs of my body stand on end of the recitation of your name? Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Yes, Kashish Mataji, you want to read this one?
Pravashayatam Shunyayatam Jagat Sarvam Govinda Virahena Me. O Govinda, Feeling your separation, I am considering a moment to be like 12 years or more. Tears are flowing from my eyes like torrents of rain, and I am feeling all vacant in the world in your absence. Hare Krishna.
Thank you. Repeat, Prabhu, to complete.
Aslishava padaratang pinashtumam adarsanan marmahatam karatuba jatha tathava vidadhatu lampata mat prananathastu shaeva napara. I know no one but Krishna as my Lord, and he shall remain so, even if he handles me roughly by his embrace or makes me broken-hearted by not being present before me. He is completely free to do anything and everything, for he is always my worshipful Lord unconditionally. Hare Krishna Prabhu, thank you.
Shri Shri Chaitanya Shrishtastakam Ki Jai.
Jai.
So we read till text 8, I think last time. So let's read 9, 10 and 11 today. And there are 11 verses in this. Vaikuntha janito varamadhupuri tatrapi rasotswad vrindavaranyam udarapani ramanat tatrapi govardhanaha radha kundam ihapi gokula patehi premamrita plavanat kuryad asya virajato giritate sevam viveka nakaha. The holy place known as Mathura is spiritually superior to Vaikuntha, the transcendental world, because the Lord appeared there. Superior to Mathura Puri is the transcendental forest of Vrindavan because of Lord Krishna's Rasa Leela pastimes. And superior to the forest of Vrindavan is the Govardhan hill, for it was raised by the divine hand of Sri Krishna and was the site of his various loving pastimes. And above all, the super excellent Sri Radha Kunda stands supreme, for it is overflooded with the ambrosial nectarian prema of the Lord of Gokula, Sri Krishna. Where then is that intelligent person who is unwilling to serve this divine Radha Kunda, which is situated at the foot of Govardhan Hill? So nice. Okay, number 10. Anyone wants to read this one? Yes, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna Prabhu. Next, text 10. Karma karmi biha parita hare priyataya bhaktim jayu jnaninas tebhya jnana vimukta bhakti parama premaika nishtastata tebhyasta pashu pala pankaja drishastabhya apisharadhika preshta tavad yam tadiya sharashitam nashrayet ka kriti. Translation by His Divine Grace S. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada, Jai Srila Prabhupada. In this Shastra, it is said that of all the fruitive workers, he who is advanced in knowledge of the higher values of life is favored by the Supreme Lord Hari. Out of many such people who are advanced in knowledge, Gyanis, one who is practically liberated by virtue of his knowledge, may take to devotional service. He is superior to the others. However, one who has actually attained prema, pure love of Krishna, is superior to him. The gopis are exalted above all the advanced devotees because they are always totally dependent upon Sri Krishna, the transcendental coward boy. Among the gopis, Srimati Radharani is the most dear to Krishna. Her Kunda lake is as profoundly dear to Lord Krishna as this most beloved of the gopis. who then will not reside at Radhakund and in a spiritual body surcharged with ecstatic devotional feelings of Prakrita Bhava, render loving service to the divine couple Sri Sri Radha Govinda, who perform their Astakaliya Lila, their eternal eightfold daily pastimes. Indeed, those who execute devotional service on the banks of Radhakund are the most fortunate people in the universe. Hare Krishna. Wait.
Hare Krishna. Nandini Mataji, you want to read the last one? Kirti Mataji?
Yes, Prabhu. Text 11, correct?
Yes.
Okay. Krishna soche pranavasati prema bhisorapi radha kundavasya munibhira bhita stha geva vyathai ya preshte rapyama sulabham ki पुनर्भर्वति भाचा तत्प्रेमेदे सकृदपि सर स्वातुरो क्षिरोति. Translation: of many objects of favor, delight, and all the lovable damsels of Vrajabhumi, Srimati Radharani is certainly the most treasured object of Krishna's love, and in every respect, her divine kun is described by great sages as similarly dear to him. Undoubtedly, Radha Kun is very rarely attained even by the great devotees. Therefore, it is even more difficult for ordinary devotees to attain. If one simply bathes once within the holy waters, one's pure love of Krishna is fully aroused. Thank you, Prabhu.
Shri Navan Bhan ki jai, Shri
Jai.
Radha Kund Vishal Kund ki jai, Shri
Jai.
Giri Govardhan ki jai. Okay, so we will read Bhagavad Gita, a few verses. We read till this one, so let's read from 313. Anyone who's not read wants to read today? Okay.
Haribol Prabhu, I can read. Dandavat Pranam.
Yes, please, Mataji.
Dandavat. Yagya Shishta Shanto Muchyante Sarvakil Bishay Bhujante Te Tva Agham Papa Ye Pachanti Atma Karanat. The devotees of the Lord are released from all kinds of sins because they eat food which is offered first for sacrifice. Others who prepare food for personal sense enjoyment verily it only sin. Prakrite kriyamānāni gunai karmani sarvashah ahankārābhibhūtātma kartāham iti manyate. The spirit soul, bewildered by the influence of false ego, thinks himself the doer of activities that are in actuality carried out by the three modes of material nature. Thank you.
Thank you, Mataji. Anyone else wants to read? Anyone got a chance? Feeling left out? Anyone? Okay, we have a couple of minutes so we can take more turns. Yes, Pravir Prabhu, please.
Evam parampara praptam iman rajarshaya vidu sakalena hamahata yoganashta parantapa. This supreme science was thus received through the chain of disciplic succession, and the saintly kings understood it in that way. But in course of time, the succession was broken, and therefore the science as it is appears to be lost. Jada jada hi dharmasya glanir-bhavati bharata abhuttanam adharmasya tadatmanam srijamyaham. Whenever and wherever there is a decline in religious practice, O descendants of Bharata, and a predominant rise of irreligion, at that time I descend myself. Hare Krishna Prabhu back.
Yeah. Yes, Punamataji, you want to read?
Sure, Prabhuji.
Yeah, 4.8.
4.8 Paritranaya sadhunam vinashaya cha duskritam dharma sansthapanarthaya sambhavani yuge yuge, to deliver the pious and to annihilate the miscreants as well as to re-establish the principle of religion, I myself appear millennium after millennium. Janma karma cha meti vyam evam yo veti tattva tyaktva deham punarjanma naiti mam eti, so Arjuna, one who knows the transcendental nature of my appearance and the activities does not, upon leaving the body, take his birth again in this material world, but attains my eternal abode, O Arjuna. Hare Krishna, back to you, Prabhuji.
Okay, one or two last verses. Anyone?
I can read Prabhuji. Hare Krishna. Je jataman prapoddante tamstotaiva bhajamaham mamam vartanu vartante manushya partha sarvasya. As all surrender unto me, I reward them accordingly. Everyone follows my path in all respects, O son of Partha. Tadvidhi pranipatena pariprasnena sevaya upadekshante jnanam ganina sattva. Just try to learn the truth by approaching a spiritual master. Inquire from him submissively and render service unto him. The self-realized souls can impart knowledge unto you because they have seen the truth. Hare Krishna. Prabhuji.
Thank you. It's a good place to pause and start Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. I offer my humble obeisance unto the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Vasudeva. Narayanam Namaskrityam Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayam Mudiraye. Before reciting Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, which is the very means of conquest, one should offer respectful obeisance unto the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Narayana, unto Narayan Rishi, the supermost human being, unto Mother Saraswati, the goddess of learning, and unto Śrīla Vyasadeva, the author of Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam. Nashtaprayeshu abhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtike. By regular attendance in the classes on Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam and by rendering service unto the pure devotee, all that is troublesome to the heart is almost completely destroyed, and loving service unto the personality of Godhead, who is praised with transcendental songs, is established as an irrevocable fact. Namami Damodara Pankajam Karomi Damodara Pujanam Sada Vadami Damodara Nama Nirmalam Smarami Damodara Leela Sundaram Guruve Gaurachandraya Radhikaya Tadalaye Krishnaya Krishna Bhaktaya Tadbhaktaya Namo Namaha Namo Pankaja Nabhaya Nama Pankaja Maline Nama Pankaja Netraya Namaste Pankajangriye Krishnaya Vasudevaya Devaki Nandanaya Cha Nanda Gopa Kumaraya Govindaya Namo Namaha. Hare Krishna. So today is a very, very auspicious day in the month of Kartik. Getting chance to read Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam makes it very, very auspicious in the assembly of devotees. So we are reading Canto 8, chapter number 5. The demigods appeal to the Lord for protection. So we read till text number 13 yesterday. So first we were discussing about the background of what happened in a very high level in the fifth and the sixth Manu. So, in a very brief, in fifth Manu, also called Raivat Manu, Lord appeared as Vaikuntha. In the sixth Manu, also known as Chakshusha Manu, the Lord appeared as Ajita and helped in that the churning of the ocean as Kurma on Mandara mountain. So this brings up a question in the heart of Parikshit Maharaj. I want to hear this in detail. I'm not satisfied, not triptam, not atitriptam. That means great intensity, eagerness, enthusiasm, inquisitiveness. Tadvidi Pradipatena, we just read that verse, 434 Bhagavad Gita. So approaching a bona fide spiritual master and humbly inquiring with a service attitude. So let's read further and see what happens when Parikshit Maharaj inquired from his spiritual master, who is Srila Shukdev Goswami. And okay, text 14. Someone wants to read? Umesh Prabhuji, you have not read. Yeah, please read.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, Danda Pranam to everyone. Text 14. Sri Sutta Vacha Samprushto Bhagavanaivam Dvaipayana Suto Dvija Abhinandya Hare Viryam Abhyachastu Pracha Krame. Translation. Sri Sutta Goswami said, O Lord Brahmanas assembled here at Naimisharanya, when Shukadeva Goswami, the son of Dvaipayana, was thus questioned by the king. He congratulated the king and then endeavored to describe further the glories of the Supreme Personality, Godhead. So here, because the inquisitive of the Parikshit Maharaj, very eager to know about what exactly happened, and that's what now the further Sukadeva Goswami is going to narrate the story, what is going to happen next. Thank you, Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhuji. So, asking good questions inspires the speaker of Krishna Katha, and the speaker is motivated to share more. Just imagine if you are talking to someone, or you're trying to explain anything to someone, whether it is some material point or some physics or maths or Bhagavad Gita, and that there is absolutely no response from that person. You ask, okay, did you get that? Are there any questions? There is absolutely no response. Would you feel motivated to continue speaking? Probably not. So a good student inspires the speaker or the spiritual master by asking good questions. So, Samprishto, the question was not about how to get a new job, how to make more money, how to do this or that. The question was about the Supreme Lord and his activities. Munaya sadhu prishtoham jagadbhir lokamangalam yat kritaha Krishna samprashno yena atma suprasidati. So it's not the first time Sutta Goswami is congratulating or sharing, or Srila Shukdev Goswami is congratulating. When the question asked by the sages, Sutta Goswami speaks this verse. Munaya sadhu prishtoham. The questions asked are very, very great. Sadhu, sadhu, wonderful questions. Why they're wonderful questions? Sadhu, munaya sadhu prishtoham, jagadbhir loka mangalam. These questions, if Parikshit Maharaj would not have asked these questions, how would we have received? So these questions are for Lokamangalam. We read that word Mangalam, Punyam. Krishna Katha is very, very Pavanam, Punyam, Mangalam. All these adjectives are used to describe Krishna Katha. Yat Kritaha Krishna Samprashna. The questions pertaining to Krishna consciousness, how I can advance more. The pastimes of the Lord, the acts of devotional service, those are very nice questions. Not about how I get a green card, how I be more successful in the material world, how, all these things. Yena Atma Suprasiddhati, they are very, very pleasing to everyone. So we should also ask good questions. Good questions means questions related to Krishna consciousness, how we can make more advancement. Whenever we get chance to hear from senior Vaishnavas, we should genuinely ask good questions, not to test their knowledge, not to check how much they know, not to prove I know better, not to in a challenging mood, but to genuinely, as a humble servant for our spiritual well-being. That will inspire them to speak more. That will inspire more of our purification. So in short, Abhinandaya. Nanda, it gave pleasure. Abhinanda. So first he congratulated, very good question. Sometimes we say, good question, very nice question. That's basically coming from Shastras only. So any other comments or questions around this? Okay.
I just wanted to share about Dvaipayana, why Vyasadeva is called Dvaipayana, because he was born in an island. So that's the story of Parashara Muni wanting to cross the river, and Mother Satyavati was the boatman or boatwoman, I guess. So he found that Satyavati should be the rightful mother, and while crossing the river, he blessed her with the baby, and he also blessed her to change her body smell from Malsya Gandhi to very fragrant person. And that's how the name Dvaipayana comes, because Vyasadeva was born in that island between the two banks of the river.
Thank you. Thank you, Prabhuji. Nice. And why is island called Dvipa? You know that? What is Apa? Bhumirapo Nalo Vayu. Apa means water, right? We discussed that 8 coverings yesterday. Bhumir, Apo, Nalo Vayu. Apa is water. Du means 2. So it's surrounded by water on 2 sides. It's called island, or both the sides. So Navadvipa, Navdvip. So 9 islands. So Dvipa, and from there, as Vanchilas Prabhu so nicely explained, Dwapayana. And Dwapayan Sutta is referring to whom here? Who is Dwapayan Sutta? Shukdev Goswami.
The Vyasadeva and the son Shukdev Goswami.
Son Shukdev Goswami. So Vyasadev's son, Vyasadeva is Dwapayana. Krishna Dwapayana Vyas. That's the full name. It was dark complexion, Krishna. So the Dwapayan Sutta referring to Shukdev Goswami. And it is said Bhagavan. The word is also used. Samprishto Bhagavan even. So we see here the word Bhagavan is used for Shukdev Goswami. Sometimes we have seen the word used for Narada Muni, sometimes for Lord Shiva, sometimes for Brahma. But the Supreme Personality of Godhead, that's not used for anyone else but Krishna. So sometimes for great souls, this word Bhagavan is used. Okay, any other? Thank you, Vanchilas Prabhu.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. So what we call in Sanskrit or in our local Indian languages the Supreme Personality of Godhead? What is the equivalent word?
Equivalent. Sometimes it's used as Bhagwan or Param.
Parameshwar. Parameshwar.
Bhagwan is often used in because in common parlance when we say Bhagwan, you're not referring to Vyasadeva or you're not referring to Bhagwan. Even in ISKCON, Bhagwan. But therefore, Prabhupada didn't translate Bhagwan as God, right? Or Prabhupada translated very, very clearly Supreme Personality of Godhead. So he's a supreme, he's a person, and of all the gods, he's the supreme God. Because some people say, this as God, that as God, so which is fine. They are little gods with a small g, but Krishna is God with capital G.
The problem will come with the people who don't speak English or understand English, because they can easily say, oh, Bhagavan is Narad also, Bhagavan is Shiva also, it is mentioned in the scriptures.
Well, if they understand that far, then they'll understand the whole thing. If they read so much of Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, then for sure they'll understand everything. So, this is, what do you think? Right?
Bhashwati Mataji already said that in Bengali translation it says Parameshwar Bhagavan, only Krishna.
Parameshwar Bhagavan. Parameshwar, yes. Thank you. Yes, Kashish Mataji, you were saying something?
Yeah, even if we elaborate a little bit, then Naradji, Shivji, Brahmaji, they are also considered to be the 12 Mahajanas.
Correct. Correct. Very nice. Yes. Well, when Narada told Brahma, hey, you seem to be the God, he said, no, I'm not God. So the word God here is not used for addressing Vyasadeva as the Supreme Lord, but addressing him as a great person. Okay, let's read next verse. Who wants to read 15, 16 verse? Any Matajis?
Prabhuji, I can read.
Ji.
Text 16. Sri Sukha Uvacha Yada Yude Surair Deva Bhatyamana Sita Yudhaye Gata Sabho Nipatita Notirsthiran Sma Purisa Yada Durvasa Sapena Sendra Lokastrayo Nipa Nisri Kasa Vamsa Tatra Nesur Nesurijyad Kriya. Translation. Sukadeva Goswami said, when the Asuras with their serpent weapon severely attacked the demigods in the fight, many of the demigods fell and lost their lives. Indeed, they could not be revived. At that time, O king, the demigods have been cursed by Durvasa Muni. The three worlds were poverty stricken, and therefore ritualistic ceremonies could not be performed. The effect of this were very serious. Purport. It is described that while Durvasa Muni was passing on the road, he saw Indra on the back of his elephant and was pleased to offer Indra a garland from his own neck. Indra, however, being too puffed up, took the garland and without respect for Durvasa Muni, he placed it on the trunk of his carrier elephant. The elephant, being an animal, could not understand the value of the garland, and thus the elephant threw the garland between its legs and smashed it. Seeing this insulting behavior, Durvasa Muni immediately cursed Indra to be poverty-stricken, bereft of all the material opulence. Thus, the demigod, afflicted on one side by the fighting demons, and on the other by the curse of Durvasa Muni, lost all the material opulences in the three worlds. To be extremely opulent in materialistic advancement is sometimes very risky. The materially opulent person does not care about anyone, and thus he commits offenses to great personalities such as devotee and great saints. This is the way of material opulence. As described by Sukadeva Goswami, Dhana Durma Dhanda, Dhana Durman Dhanda. Too much wealth makes one blind. This happens even to Indra in the heavenly kingdom, and what to speak of others in the material world. When one is materially opulent, he should learn to be sober and well behaved towards Vaishnavas and saintly person, otherwise he will fall down. Hare Krishna. Back to you, Prabhuji.
Yes, you want to share something, Mataji, what you learned, understood from this?
So, in this purport, Prabhupada has given the story about how Indra was very much puffed up with all the materialistic material opulence he had, and he insulted Durvasa Muni by not accepting the garland that Durvasa Muni gave him, and he just disrespect the garland and gave it to his elephant carrier. And then as an animal, elephant did not understood the value of the garland, so he smashed it. And this was a very insulting behavior, and all this insulting behavior came out of the materialistic opulence that Indra was enjoying. So he got cursed by Durvasa Muni for that. So this gives us the example whenever somebody is very much engaged in the materialistic behavior and do not and forget to respect people, and do not stick in the ground of the respect and compassion and um, giving respect to others, being compassionate, and gets all the bad kind of behavior because of the materialistic behavior. So Prabhupada has mentioned this is very risky. This can bring somebody down. So even if one has a materialistic opulent, he should always be very soft and lenient, and also do not forget to respect people, and stick to the ground of the good behavior. Prabhuji, that's all I understood. Please enlighten.
Thank you so much. You're enlightening all of us. Yes. The Niti Shastra explained that there are 4 kinds of blind people. Nevam pashyati janmandha kamandha eva na pashyati arthi dosham na pashyati madonmatta na pashyati. So, one who is blind from birth due to past things. One who is blind from desire to get kamandha, blinded by lust. Bilamangal Thakur, Silana Mishra. He saw the snake as rope, the corpse as the boat. One does not see right and wrong, blinded by lust. And dhanandha is mentioned here. Dhan durmadandha. So gladly one is like mad. By hook or crook, money should come. whether it is killing one's own brothers, sisters, mother, father, one does not see right or wrong. Whether this occupation is sinful, what kind of industry am I supporting, does not care. Money should come. Whether I have to sell cigarettes or alcohol or meat or this, I'll do anything for money, because money is very, very dear. Money is more dear than honey. So blinded by wealth. And then Madon Mattana Pashyati, by one's own false prestige. The example was Nalkuver, Manigriva, Duryodhana, etc. So they were so blinded they couldn't see the great soul, like Narada. So here also, Indra could not see the great soul, Durvasa Muni. He took the blessings of great soul for granted. He took it cheaply. Hey, what's this big deal, garland? I have like pearl garlands. I have so many precious flowered garlands. I get these garlands every day. What's the big deal in getting one more garland? Give it to Erawat, take this garland. Erawat, being dull-headed elephant animal, of course he's not an ordinary animal, but he just smashed the garland. And that was insult. That was big insult. It's like kind of Vaishnava Aparadh. In Indra, it's not the first time. Of course, we have to understand that this is not Indra's story, this is my story. How I act often in so many ways where I take things for granted. Whether it is the holy name, right? It is the biggest blessing of the Lord, but I'm sleeping while chanting. That's like taking for granted. Or I get prasadam every day, what's the big deal? So not valuing that enough. Oh, the garlands from the deities, or the flowers offered to the deities, what's the big deal? I get it every day. So familiarity breeds contempt, or sometimes too much opulence, material opulence. What's so special about this flower? May lead to familiarity, because one becomes too, involved in one's own self. One can't see that this is not an ordinary thing. A great soul has given this blessing in the form of a garland. I better treat it very nicely with a lot of respect and care and attention. With gratitude, attitude of gratitude. So Radhanath Swami Maharaj speaks a lot about this, and Thanksgiving is coming. Thanksgiving is to express gratitude. But it's not that we have to express gratitude just 1 or 2 days a year. It's every day. It's the fundamental core of Vaishnavism. Gratitude to devotees, gratitude to the Lord, gratitude to Diksha Guru, Shiksha Gurus, to Prasadam, to Holy Name, to every aspect. When we become too familiar, it leads to disrespect. And Indra is just an example in this story. Earlier, Indra also became example at how he offended Brihaspati. When Brihaspati came, Indra was too busy in the dances and other stuff. He didn't offer respect. And then the whole story, Vritrasur and that story continues, which we read in the previous cantos. So we should be very, very careful, especially when one gets material opulence, especially when one gets some learning, especially any material, opulence, whether it is beauty, learning, education, or some skill, or wealth. All these could be dangerous if not properly channelized in the service of the Lord. So Prabhupada is mentioning it's risky. Any of these could make one blind. One could be blind by one's learning. One could be blind by one's beauty. One could be blind by one's wealth. One could be blind by one's skill, and not see others in a respectful way, or take them for granted, or disrespect them. So we should be very careful. Otherwise, we will fall down. Any other comments, any questions, additions in this text? Okay, let's read the next one, 17, 18. Would someone like to read, please? Yes,
I can do Puji. Hare Krishna devotees, downward pranam, all glories to Srila Prabhupada. Text 17-18. Nisha Maitat Shura Guna Mahendra Baruna Dayo Nadhaya Gachan Shayam Mantrayanto Vinishchitam Tata Brahma Shabam Jagmur Mirror Murdhani Sarvasha Sarvam Vigna Payam Chakru Pranatha Paramesthine. Translation by His Divine Grace is Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. Lord Indra, Borun, and other demigods, seeing their lives in such a state, consulted among themselves, but they could not find any solution. Then all the demigods assembled and went together to the peak of the Sumeru mountain. There, in the assembly of Lord Brahma, they fell down to offer Lord Brahma their obeisances. Then they informed him of all the incidents that had taken place. So here we see, though misfortune came upon the demigods, as Vipuji just explained, due to the what should I say, due to the puffed up position by Lord Indra, but ultimately they came to their consciousness and signed up to their master and the great Lord Brahma for their solution. And so here I can learn that any problem comes to us in this metal world, and if we take shelter to the Guru, Sadhu, and Shastra, definitely we can come out of the problem and come back to a right path of bhakti. Thank you. Back to Prabhuji.
Thank you so much, Prabhuji. So we have discussed this, that on top of Mount Sumeru mountain, which is like 100,000 yojanas in the central, like the focal point of the universe, I think 84,000 are above and 16 is kind of subterranean. And like they have the secondary quarters, like rich people have multiple homes, one in this city, one in this city, one in this country, one in that country, like that. So Indra has secondary quarter, Brahmaji, Indra, etc., on top of Mount Sumeru. So that's mentioned here. Viprabhu raised a very, very important point, that when two less intelligent people or two people who are afflicted with the same disease are trying to solve the disease, they may not be able to solve the problem because both people are in the same problem. So they need to consult someone who's out of the problem, the spiritual master. It's like two beggars trying to figure out a plan to open a a big business. They may not be able to figure it out. But if they consult someone who's a successful businessman, it's a very material example, probably they'll get the good guidance and intelligence to do something and get out of their poor situation. Similarly, it's very nicely mentioned, they consulted among themselves, but they could not find any solution. So on one side, what was the problem? One side, the offense, the curse of the Durvasa Muni, and other side that they were being tortured. They were being tortured by whom? The Asuras. Their serpent weapons is mentioned in text number 15. So, and demigods and demons are very smart. When asuras, when the demigods are, especially when they are cursed by the great souls, they worship their guru, Shukracharya, nicely, and then they get more strength, and then they attack. So we should approach the spiritual master. Very, very nice lesson here. Prabhu nicely shared. Otherwise, we cannot solve the problems on our own. That's the whole message of Bhagavad Gita itself. In chapter 1, Arjuna was trying to solve problems by his own effort. What was the outcome? He was crying, hands were trembling, Gandiva was shaking, and in the end, Ashrukula, completely bewildered, confused, and not knowing what to do. But at the end, after consulting the whole Bhagavad Gita, Nashta Moha Smritir Labdva. All the illusion is gone, and I have regained my intelligence to act in the proper direction. So we must always consult. Whom to consult with? Very, very important. If we consult with any Tom, Dick, Harry, you will not get out of the problem. If we consult with spiritually advanced souls, then we will certainly get out of the problem. And in the last verse, I wanted to share one quote from His Holiness Radhanath Swami Maharaj. To whom much is given, much is expected. To whom much is given, much is expected. It's not that to whom much is given, least is expected. So it's not that if we get more, whether it is learning, beauty, wealth, skills, recognition, any aspect, anything material or anything in life, that means we need to be more responsible and careful to utilize it properly. Otherwise, that thing will be a cause of our fall down. Any other comments or questions around this verse? Okay, let's read the next verse. Maswati Mataji, I think you wanted to read. Please.
Okay, Prabhuji. Dandavat Pranam, everyone. Prabhuji. I'm reading text 19 to 20. Sa vilokaindra vayap adin nisadvan vigata prabhan lokan amangala prayan ashuran ayatha bibuhu samahitena manasa samsaran purusham param uvachotfulla vadano devansha bhagavan paraha. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada ki jai. Upon seeing that the demigods were bereft of all influence and strength, and that the three worlds were consequently devoid of auspiciousness, and upon seeing that the demigods were in an awkward position, whereas all the demons were flourishing, Lord Brahma, who is above all the demigods and who is most powerful, concentrated his mind on the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Thus being encouraged, he became bright-faced and spoke to the demigods as follows. Purport. After hearing from the demigods the real situation, Lord Brahma was very much concerned because the demons were unnecessarily so powerful. When demons become powerful, the entire world is placed in an awkward position because demons are simply interested in their own sense gratification and not in the welfare of the world. Demigods or devotees, however, are concerned with the welfare of all living beings. Srila Rupa Goswami, for example, left his ministership and went to Vrindavan for the benefit of the entire world. Lokanam hita karinau. This is the nature of a saintly person or demigod. Even impersonalists think of the welfare of all people. Thus, Brahma was very much concerned at seeing the demons in power. So here, when the demigods lost everything, went to Brahma, and Lord Brahma was very disappointed and concentrate, because he knew that when the evils dominates over the good, that way the whole world can be destroyed or go to the bad direction. So that's why Lord Brahmaji here concentrating on the Supreme Lord, and here we know that whenever there is a adharma comes, Lord arrives in different forms, and Prabhupada here is giving the example, like Srila Rupa Goswami, and who had a lot of wealth, and he left everything and took the shelter of Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who was none other than the Supreme Lord. And then we all know that Rupa Goswami went to Vrindavan and found out the Radha Kund, Sham Kund, and also Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who came during the Muslim era 500 years ago in Bengal, and he was in Bengal he named as Nimai Pandit. His all the Shastras and Vedas was in his fist. So that is Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu also the Supreme Lord also created this Hare Krishna movement for the welfare of the whole society, for all of us, all those fallen souls. Nimai, Nitai, Nityananda Mahaprabhu, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and all 6 Goswamis, his followers. So this way, always, whenever the bad thing comes, adharma comes, Krishna arrives. And that's why Lord Brahma on that time only thought of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And he will spoke in the following verse. We'll see. Back to you, Prabhuji. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Bhaktaji. Very nicely you shared so many important points in this verse. Loka Nam Hitakarinam. This comes in the Shad Goswami Ashtakam. So the glorification of the Shadgo. Vande Rupa Sanatana Ragurgo Shri Jiva Gopal. So Lokanam. Hita means welfare. They do activities for the welfare of others. So as Vaishnavas or aspiring Vaishnavas, I should see what am I doing? Is it for the welfare of others? Or is it causing more trouble in the life of others? And what is the real welfare activities? We have discussed sharing the holy name, sharing prasadam, sharing books, inspiring others to offer lamps, Damodarashtakam, bring them to temples. So we discussed this whole thing, like what is real welfare, a couple of days back in great detail. Connecting the soul to the Supreme Soul, Atma to Paramatma, the lost child to the father back or the parents back. That's real welfare. And one more important point, which I missed in the last verse. So Indra made a mistake, yes, but it was not. So because of his divine nature, is not a asura, he's a sura. So he has the divine qualities. So he immediately understood that he made a mistake. So often, making a mistake is one thing, but not doing anything about it is very, very worse. But Indra is showing that, okay, I may make a mistake. It was not probably intentional. It was not an intentional mistake that if he would have known that this would have been the outcome, he would have not done that, perhaps. But so even if the mistake is unintentional, So very soon he took the corrective action. And we have seen this in the past also. So sincere people may make mistakes sometimes. It's not that as we are free from making mistakes, right? But a sincere person, as soon as the sincere person makes a mistake and realizes, at the moment the person realizes that, okay, I made a mistake, he will do or she will do anything and everything to take the necessary steps to correct it, or to do the atonement, or to approach a spiritual master in revealing, I did this thing wrong. Please help me out. What I can do now. I cannot undo that. Now Indra cannot undo that whole situation. But what can be done now to resolve that, or to atone for it? And in that fire of repentance and atonement, that bad karma is burned. So sincerely trying to do better. And the other thing is to not accept that I did a mistake, or to justify that what I did was wrong, or right. Justify, oh, Indra could have justified. What's the big deal? Why Durvasa Muni is making a big issue out of this? It was a garland only. I didn't spit at him. I didn't say any wrong words. I just was a garland only. Why are you making a big fuss out of it? Right? That is called justification. So that what I did was probably right, and what you are making a big issue out of it, or not even just least bothered. So making a mistake, but not even trying to do anything about it, or not even being apologetic or remorseful that I did something wrong. So Indra is showing that how to handle, because to her is human. And Lord Brahma, he became bright-faced. Yes, concentrated his mind on the Supreme Personality. Tene Brahma Hridayadi Kavi. That's another important point. That Lord Brahma has a very direct connection because he's always meditating upon the Supreme Lord. So unto those great souls like Brahma, he can understand the Lord's message, what the Lord wants. And to those people that the Lord reveals from within. So, any other comments, questions around this topic? Babu Kunin, you have your hand raised. Is it for reading or some question?
It's for reading.
Reading? Okay, then let's read one more verse and we'll pause.
Sure. Aham bhavav yam ato surajyo manushya tiryag ruma garma jataya yasya vatar ramsa kala visarjita vrajama sarve saranam tam avyayam. The translation: Lord Brahma said, I, Lord Shiva, all of you, demigods, the demons, the living entities, born of perspiration, the living beings born of earth, the trees and plants sprouting from the earth, and the living entities born from embryos, all came from Supreme Lord, from his incarnation of Rajaguna, Lord Brahma's the Guna Avatara, and from the great sages, Rishis, who are part of me. Let us therefore go to the Supreme Lord and take the shelter of his lotus feet. Purport: some creatures are born from embryos, some from perspiration, and some from seeds. In this way, all living entities emanate from Gunavatara of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Ultimately, the Supreme Personality of Godhead is shelter of all living entity. From this purport as well as previous purport, so what I understood is, so Indra did some mistake and he accepted
that no, he did the mistake. Instead of reacting to the situation, so he responded, he reached out to Brahma. And as a Brahma, he also understood it is can be only handled by Lord Vishnu, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And Brahma is saying clearly that we are all part of Supreme Personality of God. Whether it maybe we might have born in different form, maybe through the as a egg or as from the seed as a tree, but we are all uh, it's kind of part and parcel of Supreme God. And so he also aware what is his strength and who is the right person. So so they are all going to Supreme Lord and taking the shelter of lotus feet. Thanks so much.
Thank you so much. Very nicely you mentioned the essence. A personality like Lord Brahma, who is the head of the demigods, who is born from Lord's navel. But he's showing great humility here, that even the great demigods are coming with a lot of hope, but he's not saying, hey, I'll solve all your problems. You give dakshina to me. I'll take care of everything. He's saying, let us all therefore go to the Supreme Lord and take shelter of his lotus feet. Because not only me, not only Lord Shiva, not only all of you, but everyone else in the whole world practically is basically born from the Supreme Lord and from his incarnation, that is the Guna Avatar, referring to Lord Brahma. So in short, he's our Supreme Father, he's our Supreme Master, he's our Supreme Shelter. Sharanam, Brajam, Sarve, Brajama, Sarve Sharanam, Tam. Unto that Supreme Lord, Avyayam is used, the word Avyayam is inexhaustible. We shall all take shelter of him because he is our true shelter. He will help us out. So very, very great quality of Lord Brahma, who is inducing everyone to take shelter of Lord Vishnu. Any other comments and questions? Anything before we stop for today? Uday Dholakia Prabhuji, thank you for joining. Very happy to see you after a long time. We miss you a lot. Thank you.
Hare Krishna Prabhu. The question is, we see the Indra's character, and every time we see that Indra does a mistake, and he has been forgiven for that. And here probably is justified that he didn't do the purposely, but we saw that when he offended his spiritual master Brihaspati, there is also that at the same time they lost the battle there, demons with the demons, and that time also they went to the Lord Brahma for the again help. So am I to understand is there is no accountability here for Indra because irrespective of whether you do the insult spiritual master or any ordinary person, he still be the Indra, or is the karma doesn't affect these demigods or what? I mean, I fail to understand this character altogether actually.
So number one, there could be different Indras as well. As we know, every Manvantar, Indra changes. Number two, it is not Indra who is doing all these mistakes. It is not Brahma who does these mistakes. We have to understand that they are like writing a book 100 ways to fail. Right? There's some books like 10 different ways to fail. Or right? There's something like articles. So they are basically teaching us the things we should not do, or things we should be careful about, because it is not Indra's story, it is my story. How I disrespect devotees, how I take things for granted, how I am not grateful enough, how I, so many other things. So it is basically Indra is like a devotee teaching us what should be very, very careful about. Otherwise, what will be the outcome? So we have to always see in that light. Prabhupada mentions it at a few places at this point.
Thank you, Prabhu.
Thank you. Hare Krishna. Okay, so we will pause here and continue further and see what happens as these Brahmaji is trying to encourage them to take shelter of Lord's lotus feet. Grantaraj Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam ki jai, Shri Kartik Mas ki jai, Shri Radha Damodar ki jai, Shri Yashoda Damodar ki jai, Shri Tulsi Maharani ki jai, Shri Vrindavan Dham ki jai, Giri Govardhan ki jai, Shri Radha Kund Shyam Kund ki jai, Shri Prabhupada ki jai, Samaveta Gaur Bhaktavind ki jai. Vanchakalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhya eva cha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavibhyo. Hare Krishna. Thank you.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Krishna. Thank you.